Good afternoon and welcome to the Living Well radio program. You can find us here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on KATB 89.3 in Anchorage as well as KJLP 88.9 in Palmer. You can also listen live online at katb.org. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page at Living Well Radio. You can also download our podcast, now available on iTunes. Just search for Living Well. My name is Cammie. Say hi to everybody, Betty.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. We've been doing a lot of laughing in the studio.
My cheeks are tired already, and we're just barely getting started, huh?
That is the truth. We're not quite sure what else is going to happen today.
We're trying to pull ourselves together here, including our guests. We've got our guests coughing and
choking.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a good show. It's a good sign.
It's a very good sign.
Anyhow, again, my name is Cammie, joined by Betty, and we're super excited to bring you this show today. We are talking with Sheri with the CPC, which is the Community Pregnancy Center. She's going to be telling us all about this annual tea. It's no secret here in town, this amazing event that goes off, one of their main fundraisers, yes. I'm assuming, right? Mm-hmm. And then joining her is also Jimmie Sue and Lorraine. They're going to be the MCs for the tea. And I'll tell you what, we've had, all of 10 minutes with these girls. And
we're already, like you said, your cheeks are sore already.
Yeah. So this is just going to be an awesome event. We're super excited to talk with them and just get all the details about it and just some of the behind the scenes on the logo and just all that content. So that's going to be fun. Welcome to the show, all of you.
Thank you.
We are packed in the studio,
I
aren't
know.
we?
It's cozy.
It is. I want to start with you, Sheri. If you could just take a minute, tell us a little bit about yourself as well as the CPC, and just in case there's a listener listening that isn't familiar with what that organization is, tell us a little bit about you and CPC.
Well, I have been involved with Community Pregnancy Center, formerly Crisis Pregnancy Center, since the late 90s. Started as a volunteer coordinating what I was told at the time was a tea for some ladies, and I thought, well, I could do that. I could coordinate a tea. I had no idea it was going to involve about 300 or 400 ladies at the time, and now it's grown to about 800 men and women. So this is our 31st annual spring tea, and it's going to be at Change Point Saturday, April 14th, and our keynote is Pam Tebow, the mother of Tim Tebow. He's a professional Christian athlete who has most of his notoriety due to his amazing athletic abilities to do multiple professional sports, but also because of his the way he champions John 3:16 and chooses to live out his faith in such a public manner. So we're excited. And so Community Pregnancy Center has been around since 1984. And our call is to come alongside women and men making pregnancy decisions to help equip them to make the best decision for them, which we know because we understand who God is and how He is sovereign over every life that's created. And if we can come alongside them and give them the resources that they need and the encouragement and support they need, we have seen them choose life in what probably our culture would call very dire circumstances, and would say, why bother? But we see it every day over at the ministry. We see people choose life out of dire circumstances. And matter of fact, this morning we received a phone call. I won't give away all the story, but it was a gal who came to our center about 15 years ago, who was pregnant, and she was pretty young at the time, and she shared this morning with the gal that answered the phone that our counselor told her, said, you know what, God loves you and God loves that baby. And she left there, went home, was getting a lot of pressure from her family to abort, but she chose life, and that gal is now living in Dallas with her 13-year-old son and is now the director of development at a pregnancy center in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
So she's come really full circle in a lot of ways.
Did I hear you say that it's the 33rd?
31st.
31st.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
I'm just 2 years off.
That's incredible.
And we actually I think we'll have a couple of tea attendees who have been to all 31.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Our ladies
how
love
has it
tea.
grown? Has it grown in numbers over the years?
It has. So like I said, back in that very first one I did in 1997, we met over, I believe it was it the old Anchorage City Church when they were on International? Was that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was in that building over there. And we probably had 300 or 400 women, and we made it super complicated because we didn't know what we were doing. And so I look back at some of those things that we did way back then. I'm like, why did we do that? And now it's grown to to about, which we have between 700 and 800 people every year. And we have a new executive director this year, Greg Monrad. Bill retired after 18 years of faithful service to us, and he's living in Texas now, actually working for another pregnancy-related ministry.
My goodness.
I know. He said he thought he would be done, but the Lord said no. And so Greg really has a vision to include more men in this event. This typically has been a women's event, and he really has a call to want to bring more men involved in this. This is our largest event of the year, and by far it's the one we make most. Of our events, is the one that's makes the most on our income. And he thinks that the men are missing out, in which and I like that vision, because in a lot of ways our culture takes men out of pregnancy decisions all the time, and we need to include men in the pregnancy decisions, and we need to include men in everything we do. So part of that was trying to come up with a theme that men wouldn't shy away from, and so we came up with the tailgate and tea.
And I love the image, and we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. But I think there are several men coming.
There are, we do, yeah. So the male population is growing. So don't be shy, fellas.
And a lot of the tables are doing a sports theme, aren't they, for their tables?
A lot of sports things going on, a lot of tailgates going on. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun event.
I know my table we're doing tailgating.
Very fun.
We're doing all tailgating food. Yeah, maybe even some ribs. Fun. Not quite sure yet.
That sounds really yummy.
Some
I may have to
barbecue
swing by
ribs.
your table.
Yeah.
And we also have the MCs of the CPC. We want them to introduce themselves at this time. So just pull the mic close, girls.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to have to scoot over, Jim.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Lorraine. I'm Jimmie Sue Wilkie. I will be emceeing this event with my friend Lorraine, and we do some Christian comedy, and we're known in town as the Church Ladies. So we are looking forward to doing this together, and only God knows what will come of this at this point. So, Lorraine, take it away, girl.
It's a real unknown. We depend on God to help us. But life is full of humor, and we like to laugh our way through it. And so the best source of our comedy is just things we do ourselves. And life goes better with laughter.
It does,
and
doesn't
so
it?
we just found out that God really does want us to enjoy life, and that's part of having a full life and having joy. And lots of people are really short on joy, and so we make it our mission to help them out a little bit and find that place of laughter in their life.
Now, do you girls live in Anchorage?
I do. I live in South Anchorage.
And I'm currently in Chugiak.
And what do you do other than just make people laugh?
Yeah, we do. Lorraine and I both have serious ministries. I've been up in Alaska for, 42 plus years. I'm the founder and director of A Voice in the Wilderness Ministries. I travel around from different churches and do talks and workshops and seminars. And we've recently put our center out at Chugiak, the Praxis Center. And so we're doing stuff out of our building there. We'd like to invite all of you to come there. Can I say that? Can I put a shout out to come visit us out there? So
Yes.
Betty, you're going to come visit us, and we're looking forward to that. Yeah,
But you're going to feed me.
yes, yes, we'll have a tailgate out there for you, and you bring the tea. I'll flip down the tailgate. How's that, huh? So, and we'll do that. So, yeah, we enjoy laughter, but we also enjoy the presence of God, and we love to escort that in and co-labor with Him here on earth as it is in heaven. Amen?
Amen.
Yeah. Lorraine? I have to direct her both on and off stage.
Do you?
Yeah, oh, yeah. You'll notice that at the tea.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so,
Well,
come on.
Somebody's got to be in charge.
She likes to give me orders. Someone likes to be in charge.
That would be Lorraine. She's pretending at this
You
point.
can tell.
Yeah, see, here
You
we
can
go.
tell how it's working. I'm involved with a lot of volunteer work. I volunteer at my church. I go to Anchorage City Church, and I'm also on the board of the Downtown Hope Center, and I've been very involved with their ministry and teach Bible study to the women staying in the shelter and arrange volunteers to help come in and pray for students that are in their culinary arts program or their bakery program. And as they go through learning new skills, volunteers show up to just pray and help them along. And we want to see lives transformed and recovered. And so we're making relationships with people who are in that process. It's been really rewarding.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about how did you get started doing this comedy together? Are you guys longtime best friends? Kind of tell us the backstory of that.
Yeah, well, what happened years ago, Lorraine and I have been hanging for quite a few years, actually. And years ago, I had invited Lorraine. I was out on the road more at that time and traveling around more at that time. And I invited Lorraine to come on a tour with me one year. So she came on the tour with me, and some interesting things happened that were kind of funny. And so when we got back home and we were in one of our regular worship meetings, we began to share about our travels outside and discovered that I guess people think this is funny. And we kind of stumbled into it. And I got home and back in the office, and sure enough, the phone starts ringing off the hook the very next week, and people are saying, "Can you come do your comedy act at our church?" And I said, "What comedy act? I didn't know we had a comedy act." And Lorraine and I talked about it, and we thought, let's see what happens. So we just started going on stage and doing it, and it took off from there. And we've been all throughout the state of Alaska, doing fundraisers and stuff, and the lower 48, and that's basically how it launched itself.
Really?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She is just the naturally most funny person I've ever met in my life. And so if we travel together, there is lots of humor involved everywhere we go.
Does she always intend to be funny, or does it just come out funny?
I don't know if she intends to be funny or not, but God helps her with it. It's kind of an anointing to be funny sometimes. And we have had comedy shows that were not very funny, which were a whole funny thing in itself.
So real quick, and then I'm going to turn back to Sheri for a minute, but you got to tell us, just because of how you say, hey, apparently our life is funny and the things that we do. So tell us a little bit about your experience getting out of the vehicle today.
Well, that's a prime example, and since you can't see us, I'm going to give everybody
Please do.
a visual here. So Lorraine and I hook up out here in the parking lot to come here to your studio, and I get out of the car, and she's got on these real cute boots for breakup, and they're zebra boots. And at first I was a little aghast, and then I thought, well, I actually kind of like those. But when she stood up, I about fell out of my car because she has on a polka dot shirt, folks. So we have zebra stripes and a polka dot shirt.
It's high fashion.
Yeah,
I knew we were on radio.
Yeah, and then when we came into the foyer, they've got the children's theme down there, and I thought, well, Lorraine's right at home because she looked like one of the little characters on your walls downstairs. So when we leave here, I'm just going to stick her on the wall, and you all can enjoy her for a while.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, Lorraine's a hoot.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's exactly how it works out, though. Just like life is funny, isn't it? You just got to look for those opportunities to find the humor in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Sheri, tell us a few more. You're hiding back there behind this monitor, and I can't see you back there. But tell us a little bit more about this annual event, and what is the time that people are going to gather? They're going to consist of.
So we'll open the doors at 10:30, and we still have tables available. We still have about 20 tables available. So if you've been thinking about coming, go online today and reserve your table at cpcanchorage.com/spring tea, and you can reserve your table. Tables are $160, and we had Greg was new to CPC in the last year, and so last year was the first year he came, and he told me, of course, he'd never been to a tea last year, and he and his wife were trying to figure out how to do it. And he's like, he goes, it's confusing. We don't know how to tea. He goes, you need to tell people how to tea. So I'll explain. So for $160, what we give you is we just give you a round 60-inch table and 8 chairs. You cater it yourself, you decorate it yourself, and you invite your own friends. And we've been doing it that way for 31 years, and people like it that way. They can, the neat thing about it is when you walk in the room, you've got 100 tables. They're all decorated differently. Everything from grandma's china and the finest of crystal and silverware down to paper plates that, you can just pick up and put in the trash on your way out. So that in and of itself makes it fun. And so we open our doors at 10:30 in the morning so you can come and enjoy what we call the tour of tables, where you can just go and look at all the different designs and themes. And we always have a table decorating contest for those who choose to decorate their tables. And that contest happens on Friday night after all the tables are set up. So by the time people get there, Saturday morning, then all the tables are ready to go. And a few years ago, we had some people say, look, I don't want to decorate my table, and I don't want to cater my table. I don't know anybody that's doing it. I just want to come. So for those of you who just want to show up and come, we do have individual seats available for $40 a piece. And again, you can get those reservations at cpcanchorage.com/spring tea, or you can call the center as well at 337-9292. So after the tour tables, we'll have some lunch around 11, and then we have a lively live auction. Of course, we'll have Jimmie Sue and Lorraine entertaining us in between, and we have a silent auction. That's a pretty big silent auction, and then a tea shop where, if you're interested in donating or crafting items for our tea shop, items will be sold there, and of course, all the proceeds go to help families make pregnancy decisions. And then we'll have our special message from Pam. And I had the pleasure of getting to speak to Pam on the phone a week or two ago. And sweet, sweet lady, very, very excited about coming to Alaska. You never know how people who are sort of in the public eye are going to respond when you want to talk to them personally. They might have one personality on stage, one personality separately. Very, very sweet lady. Very passionate about Pregnancy Center Ministries. Wants to do whatever she can to help us while she's here, and is happy to stay behind afterwards and autograph or visit with people who maybe want to talk to her about their story. And we're super excited about having Pam with us.
I know I've been several years, and I always look forward to looking at the tables because they're always so beautiful. And I was talking to Jimmie Sue earlier. I said I would bring in all my china and my linens, but not anymore. Now I just want the paper tablecloth and the paper plates where I can just wrap it all up and put it in the trash.
That's my kind of table.
Much easier, but some of them are so beautiful.
Yeah, there are some ladies out there with a real gift for doing that, and it's a treat to see. And we think we're thankful because we recognize that without the ladies, our hostesses who are willing to do this, we recognize this event wouldn't happen. Doing it this way alleviates the burden of us having to do meals for 800 people. So it's just a really simple, fun way. And we're very, very thankful for our hostesses who take the time and expense to do that, to put together those tables.
Now this year, on your invitation, you have a beautiful image. But I understand that there's a story behind that, and it took quite a while.
You know what? We normally start late fall, or maybe before Christmas time, on pulling together the theme for the event. Every year, it's a different process to find a scripture that sort of matches what we're trying to do, and tying it up with what the speaker's going to say. And of course, then Greg came in and said he wanted to include men, and we're just struggling. We're just struggling so much. How do we do this? And then somebody threw out the idea of a tailgate, and we sort of tossed that around. And anyway, it was probably mid-January, and now I'm feeling way behind the 8 ball. Like, we normally have our all locked up and done by then, and it wasn't happening. And tried talking to a graphic artist, trying to explain what I was wanting, and just didn't feel like she wasn't understanding. And anyway, we were so frustrated. And I just got on the internet one night and just Googled tailgate and tea, or I don't know, just Googled something like that. And up popped this image. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that image. And so I took that and I doctored it a little bit, and I sent it to our graphic artist. I said, this is sort of what I'm looking at. Can you take this and make it pretty? And she's like, yeah, but we can't just take that image off the internet. And I'm like, why not? So I'm like, oh, fine. So Greg said, he goes, I'll get Kirsty, one of the gals at our office. He goes, I'll get Kirsty working on how to get a hold of that image. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? They're never going to be able to find the gal that took that image. They're never going to be able to get permission. I mean, it's, how many millions of people put images out there? But in the bottom corner of the image, it had the blog post, and it was, I think the name of her company was Great Stitch, and she was in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And so I'm like, okay, well, y'all go ahead. Meanwhile, I'm going with this image. So I was out of town for a few days, and so they sort of took it and ran with it. Well, Kirsty got a hold of the gal, and she asked the lady. It turns out the lady runs a quilting business in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. and this particular image, she had multiple images of the tailgate, the truck with the tailgate. She was displaying her quilts, and actually her daughter had taken the picture. And if you go to the website, you can see the image. But her daughter had taken the picture. It had sunflowers and different tea things on there, and the quilt draped over the back of the tailgate. And so Kirsty was communicating with her, and she said, "Can we use this image for our fundraiser?" Well, the gal doing her homework said, "Well, who are you?" And she said, "Well, we're Community Pregnancy Center." So she went to our website, and we keep our website pretty benign. Our job is to offer a judgment-free zone for making a decision. So we don't want to come out there with an agenda. So on our website, it may not appear like we're we're going to pursue one way or the other on a decision. And so she came back to us and she said, "You know what? I can't let you use my image." And of course, Kirsty's like, "Well, why not?" And she said, "Because you guys aren't pro-life." And Kirsty's like, "Oh my gosh, we're very pro-life. That's who we are. That's what we are." She's like, "Well, I don't get that from your website." And so Kirsty tried to explain to her that, we try to keep our website, open so when the people come to the website, they don't feel like we're coming with an agenda. And she explained that to her. And then Kirsty went on to explain to her the 34 years we've been doing ministry here and the lives we've saved. And so the gal was like, "Of course you can use it. And I'm going to send you a quilt for your silent auction, and I'm going to send you a basket of goodies otherwise." So it's been a really neat way to see God's hand just in connecting us with these people in Oklahoma. And, and it just, for me, it was like, I always sell God short, thinking you're never going to be able to find the owner of that image. And so she's been really accommodating. She's given us several images to work with and use. And so we're excited about the new relationship with her.
That's an incredible story.
It really is.
Yeah. It goes to show that God even cares about the little things.
Even the smallest details.
He's got it all under control.
He absolutely does.
I have a feeling we're about out of time.
About 8 minutes, actually.
We have a few more.
Yep.
Well, do you have a favorite tea that you have been a part of, Sheri? A favorite story?
Well, the tea is, it's been over the years. Like I said, it's been a lot of years. And I took a break from 2005, I think, to about 2009. I was not working at the ministry and took a break, and I didn't really go to many teas then. And I felt like when I took that break, I sort of needed to be done with the teas. They can just get to be a lot. But on the years I was gone, we had another gal in there. She pumped some new life into it. And so when I came back, I'm like, these things are actually fun. So, but of all the different years of the way it's evolved over the years, I was just telling somebody this morning at one of our committee meetings that we had, my biggest goal, and especially as we look at getting young people in, certainly we're always wanting to bring in the next generation and to begin to pick up the baton and carry it. And we're doing that actually in a lot of ways at the ministry. We've hired some younger people, great ideas. Gosh, so excited about what I see the Lord doing in younger generations. The biggest thing is I think this event has to be able to evolve so the next generation will want to carry it on. And so it may look different. What we're doing today, if I think about like if I tried to pull off a tailgate and tea back in 1997, I think, some of those church ladies wouldn't like that. They like doing their fancy high teas with their fancy dresses, and now it's unusual to see somebody come in a fancy dress. We've gotten more casual over the years. So I say all that to say that it's evolved with the time and with the times, and I'm excited to see this new younger generation what they're going to do with it in years to come. Yeah.
Don't you love how you can do that, though, Sheri? I mean, the truth isn't going to change, but sometimes the approach of how we deliver it can.
Exactly. And we need something that's going to speak to the younger generation, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Betty.
I was just going to ask Jimmie Sue and Lorraine what they were looking forward to.
Yes.
About the tea.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm looking forward to the food.
Especially Betty's ribs.
Yeah. Betty's bringing ribs. That sounds pretty darn good. Some tailgate food.
Is emceeing something you guys normally do?
I think, well, we haven't done it together, and I think I've emceed more than Lorraine. But this will be a first together, which will be entertaining in itself. So I'm looking forward to that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So.
Yes, we have no experience.
So we'll just give a shout out.
We'll just learn on our way.
Yeah.
So. Sheri, how did you get connected with Jimmie Sue and Lorraine?
Well, I've seen Jimmie Sue and Lorraine do their act at another fundraiser, and so I thought they were very, very funny. But Greg was the one that he was the one that came up with the idea first. And when I'm like, oh my gosh, they'd be perfect for this. So
Time will tell.
Can I put you guys on the spot? Like, can you just do a little piece of something?
Oh, Lord.
No, that's okay if you don't.
Yeah.
Can't.
Well, what about when we were at Wanda's house? Sometimes we go traveling and we'll stay at people's homes while we were doing ministry, and we were, things will just strike us funny. And so Jimmie Sue was going to minister at a church she'd never been to, for a pastor she'd never met. It was a friend of Wanda's. And we are on our way out the door, and I saw this little ponytail clip. And it just called to me, and I thought I should make a little Audrey ponytail on top of her head. A little tiny sprout of a ponytail on the top of her head. And not say anything to Wanda, just come out looking like a goofball. And so Jimmie Sue got in the back seat of Wanda's car, right where she could look in the rear view mirror and catch what was going on back there, but we wouldn't say anything.
So I was looking like baby Huey back there with little pixie on my head, and you could see the sprigs of hair in the rearview mirror. So I know she saw me, and she looks and she goes to back up. She does a double take, and that her toenails are curling in her shoes, and because she doesn't know how to tell me, you look stupid, you can't come to my church like that, right? And she goes, oh, she's so sweet. I would have said, hey, you look dumb, take that out. But not our friend. She said, oh, you got a little pixie, do you? And I went right along with it. I said, yeah, do you like it? You could tell she was nervous, and I left it in all the way to the church. And she's getting nervous, like I can't introduce my pastor to this woman. And I went all the way to the front door of the church and walked into the foyer before I took my pixie off.
But we laughed for hours over it. It was quite entertaining.
We got a lot of mileage
off of that one.
Oh, it was a hoot. We had a very, very, very good time. So we just like to have fun. What's that old saying? Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And
that's
that's
right.
what we're about. Yeah. Would I be out of line to give kudos to CPC?
Please, go ahead.
I reached down and grabbed my phone for a reason, because Sheri, when you were talking, I was really struck. It brought out this conversation this morning. No names or anything mentioned, but I was sharing with a friend that we were coming here this morning, and I was sharing to them about the CPC event, and she sent me this text. So I want to share this because I want to thank you guys for what you do in our community. And it's far more reaching than what meets the eye. And she sent me a text, and she said, oh, I love the pregnancy center, the Community Pregnancy Center, and their ministry. They were the ones who helped me when I found out I was pregnant with my first child at age 15. And that was 28 years ago. And it just struck my heart this morning, It's just like, wow, thank you, Lord, that somebody was there for these women and these men that go through this. I just want to thank you guys for journeying with people, for listening, for being there for them, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for what you do in the community. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you for saying that, Jimmie Sue. 28 years ago was a long time. That was before my time at CPC, and there again, it just strikes me that, it's so important, it's imperative that we continue to train up the next generation to pick up this baton, because this issue is not going away. I think abortion is probably going to be legal in our country for a long time. And while we may continue to strive to address it legislatively, I think the only way it's really going to be ever addressed is when we as a church step into the lives of other people, messy or not, and are willing to do what we can to help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I just wanted to share the rest of the story, the stories that we don't hear,
exactly.
The outcomes, So.
Wow, that's a great testimony to their service in our community. And, what faithfulness it takes to remain steadfast with all of the opposition out there, in regards to this topic.
Yes.
So we certainly appreciate that very, very much.
Yeah.
As we do close our show, Sheri, if you could just let our listeners know one more time how to get in touch with the CPC tea and how to get registered and whatnot, please.
Yes, so you can register online at cpcanchorage.com/spring tea. or you can call our center at 337-9292, and they'll be happy to get your reservation for your table. We hope to see you there.
Very good. Thank you so much, ladies, all of you.
Thank you.
Jimmie Sue, Lorraine,
Thank
Sheri,
you.
for joining us on Living Well today. We sure appreciate your time and just getting this word out about this amazing event coming up to support this amazing ministry that's also available in our own community. So thank you so much. And that is another Living Well program, and you can find us here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on KATB 89.3 in Anchorage, as well as KJLP 88.9 in Palmer. You can also listen live online at katb.org or Facebook, as well as podcast on iTunes. Thank you, and we'll see you next Wednesday.